everyone, I'm Serenity, and today I would like to talk about ideas, inspiration, and how basically ideas are not necessarily our own and how that relates to the universe and the collective consciousness. First, I would like to, I guess I'll just talk about what I'm going to get into, but I would also like to basically use this opportunity to share a few experiences I've had with this, evidence of ideas that we think are our own, but then turn out to really not be ours after all. Basically, I would like this to be an example as to why when you have a really good idea or something really inspires you and you really want to do it, why it is you need to just seize the opportunity as best as you can within your power, within your control, whatever it is that you are capable of doing, and what obstacles you can overcome in order to accomplish this. Every idea is not necessarily like it doesn't come from us, right? We think it does because we're alone in our own head, and so when we have an idea, we're like, wow, where did that come from, right? But really, what an idea and inspiration is really, I feel like it's an energy that kind of flows into us, and that's why a lot of people don't get their greatest ideas until they're, in a more calm state. Maybe they're taking a shower or they're zoning out, or a lot of times you don't really get them until you're alone. And anybody who knows anything about meditation and needing to get quiet knows that you won't really be able to receive information from the universe unless you can quiet your mind and quiet your brain. And that's when you start receiving all kinds of just, insight, right? And I believe that is it works the same way when we are getting ideas and inspiration. I feel like ideas are almost like they're riding a wave. They're riding an energy wave, and sometimes certain people are able to open themselves up to that. And maybe more than one person opens themselves up to the same idea or the same energetic wave, right? And it hits more than one person. Maybe it doesn't. Maybe sometimes it just hits one person at a time. But let's just say it hits more than one person, and only a few of those people, if not just one or maybe even no one, is going to actually cling on to it, almost like fishing. Like the idea is riding a wave and it flows through you, and are you going to cling on to it? Are you going to hold it? And then are you going to take the initiative to actually make something with it, right? I've actually experienced this where I've had these ideas, and it always did make me wonder, where do these ideas come from? Is it more than one person? Like the collective consciousness, are we all getting the same idea at one time? Sorry about that. That is my brother-in-law's sweet cat just chilling in the back. Yeah, so anyway, where was I was saying that I've always wondered whether or not these ideas come from, or come to more than one person at one time. And basically it's whoever seizes the opportunity first, actually gets it. Or does it come to one person at a time, and then when that person doesn't seize it or do anything with it, it kind of just flows on to the next person who's open to that same inspiration, that same idea, like somebody who's capable of making that idea come to life, right? And I do believe that there are certain ideas that are just so needed in the world, or maybe it's a story, maybe it's something that has to be done, and I feel like it's so important that it will just go to the next person if the first person doesn't take advantage of it. Whereas there might be some ideas that float around with people for years, many years. I think of writers like this, where there are writers who just sit on stories and books most of their life until they finally get them out of their system. And maybe in those situations, the ideas that you have are really meant to come through you, and maybe the universe knows eventually you're gonna, put it out. I don't know. I feel like this is something that could be a deeper subject. There's so many more things that can be talked about with this. But I'm just gonna go ahead and share a couple of examples where this actually happened to me. And this literally just proves that when you get a good idea, something like you really feel intensely about, don't let it go. Do what you can, within your power, within reason, to be able to push this forward, or, you know, get it going or get the ball rolling somehow, anything. You know, basically what I'm trying to say is, like, don't let the idea go if you truly think you're the one to do it. So yeah, so first of all, I'm quite sure I've had other experiences like this, but I have a couple right off the top of my head that were just so distinctive that, you know, I have to mention them. And that is, a while back, when I had my first daughter, I had to, like, I pumped with both of my children. And then my second daughter, she ended up breastfeeding exclusively, so I didn't really pump as much with her. But I pumped with both. And I remember with both, I always felt like I just couldn't do anything with my life every time I had to sit and pump, right? I felt like if only I could pump while I could get up and cook dinner, or if only I could pump while, you know, doing blah, 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 blah. And I know there were certain breast pumps that were on the market that, like, sort of allowed for that mobility. I think, like, where you had, like, a bra and you could, like, strap the pump onto your chest. And those were really good, I think, for, like, around the house. But I was thinking, okay, well, what if I wanted to go grocery shopping? And they're, like, I don't have the baby attached to me. That would be such a good opportunity for pumping, right? And I think at the time what I would use is those little cups that would, like, collect the milk. And I thought, if only there was a pump that just laid flat like a bra, and it just kind of, like, flowed into some sort of like holder that you could, like, strap on, right? And I drew up the whole design. I mean, I had a name for it. I even contacted a few people about, you know, going ahead and getting the idea, like, you know, getting the ball rolling on the idea. And I had a few people that wanted to meet with me about it. And at the time, I was going through something just so awful, so awful. I just could not put my mind or my energy on anything else but just getting out of this particular situation I was in. Long story short, I kind of just shoved the idea to the back of, like, one of my notebooks, and I never got back in contact with the people who were wanting to meet with me. And I let it go. I totally pushed it to the back of my mind. I didn't want to. It always sat there like, oh, I just really want to do that one thing. I know it would be very helpful. I know how to make it work. The mechanics, you know, whatever. Now, just to be clear, I never showed these ideas to any of the people I wanted to meet with. I just told them I had a really good idea for something like that nature, and I did not tell them exactly. I didn't tell them how the mechanics worked. That's basically, I'm the only person who knew how the mechanics worked for this idea I had for a breast pump. I can't name the product, nor would I, but I can't name it because I don't remember it. But no joke, about, I want to say, like, 5 years later, because again, I never picked this thing back up. About 5 years later, by this point, I'd had another child, you know, just getting through life as best as I could. I ended up coming across an ad, I think on Facebook, it might have been YouTube, I don't know. And I am not kidding, it was literally the exact breast pump I had designed, almost identical. There were a few things that were different. And again, I want to stress that I never showed these ideas to anybody, and I know for a fact no one ever got their hands on them, because to this day, I still have it tucked away somewhere that no one has ever gotten their hands on. But the mechanics were almost identical to what I had drawn out. And I just was looking at it like wild, like, oh, wow, this is crazy. Like, first of all, I was, like, mad because I was thinking this couldn't have been designed, like a handful of years ago. I wouldn't have even cared. I wouldn't have cared if someone else had done it. I just wanted the breast pump for myself. So I was already done breastfeeding by the time I saw this. And I was like, oh, this is wild. Like, this is exactly what I had designed, and I'm looking at it, and I actually had to screenshot it, and I ended up telling, like, my husband the whole story, and I even showed him my old designs, because, like, it didn't matter by this point. But I could not stop looking at this pump, because I was like, this is insane. Like, I literally drew this up. And so yeah, I had to ask myself, like, was it really that original? Maybe someone else had already thought of this idea and I was, like, too late to it, or maybe it was my idea and then I didn't, like, you know, I didn't take it and try to, like, move anything with it, so it just, like, flowed on to the next person. I don't know. But that's all there is to the story. I just think, like, wow, that's really crazy. And I remember I got really mad about it for a while. I got mad because, one, I didn't have it. And then two, I got mad because like I knew that was a good idea, and I knew that it was needed, and I just wish so bad I had, you know, taken advantage of that. And then this little like tidbit of something that happened to me once is I had been writing down all these ideas for a like mini blog I wanted to do. It wasn't like something I was like super passionate about, but it was something I was like, I want to give this a try. And I had come up with a name for it, and I had written down all these ideas, and I started like a Pinterest board that was private for it. And I started like filling up my notebook with all these different ideas that I was gonna like post about or write about. And then shortly like after that, it was very quick. I want to say like no more than 6 months later, this like girl I was friends with on Facebook, that like we're not like real, like we're not friends in real life anymore, but like we went to high school together. She had come up with almost the exact same idea, like exactly on the nose. But she had a different name, of course, for her idea, but it was like so similar. And then the way she ended up presenting it online was just so similar that I got freaked out from it. I was like, wait a minute, I literally had this idea. And instead of like getting really upset about it, I knew that I was not like mentally ready to start this blog. So she had like made a post about like, hey, if anybody has any ideas, you know, like give me some, you know, so I can start this blog up. And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna give her some of my ideas, because like I'm not gonna do it. She's already doing it. So here we go. And I remember like I sent her like, I don't know if I sent her a message, but I think I sent her some comments or some messages. The weird thing was, the whole like weird thing about the situation is she never really responded to any of my ideas. I think she used them. I don't know if she did. But she never responded to any of my ideas. She did respond to other people's ideas, and she did not respond to mine. And I'm going to be honest with you, the whole vibe of that just felt really weird to me. I didn't like it. I can't explain what happened there with that situation, but what I do know is, once again, I had an idea. I didn't like go with it right away, and then next thing you know, somebody else popped up and had the same idea. Now another thing, you know, sometimes I've also thought about like negative energies trying to come in and like harness like some good ideas you have. But once again, I feel like it just comes back to, if it was meant to be yours, like nothing could stop it. And if it was really, really meant to be yours, you wouldn't let anything stop it. You know what I mean? And then my last example, and the only reason I'm giving this example is because it was such a great experience this time around. And it's something I would love to just like do a quick isolated video about sometime. But basically, I had joined this like 7-day like challenge to like change your mindset and, you know, you start the ball rolling with your life and your goals and what you want to do. And it's part of what got me wanting to go ahead and start doing videos again. That's literally, like, I had already wanted to do it, but like getting involved in the 7-day challenge, I was like, okay, you know, they were really encouraging all of us to go ahead and do it. And that is the reason I started filming and started like, you know, uploading. But I ended up hearing this person's story, you know, who came and talked about some stuff they wanted to do. And I'm actually not going to talk about like what the idea was, unlike the other two I just had. I'm not going to talk about this idea, because the person who did it, or who is talking about doing it, they're, you know, they're still working on that, and I'm not going to open any energy up or any kind of, you know, stuff towards that idea when someone's literally working on it right now. But long story short, this person told their story about their past and about what they wanted to do in the future. And they wanted to start this particular type of program that about 3 years ago, again, I wrote in detail in some of my notebooks. And I again, I want to stress this, that I'm a very private person. When I have these ideas, I keep them to myself. And also I'm a stay-at-home mom. So I don't, like, I work from home, you know, I homeschool. And so I don't go out and like, hey, I had this great idea, you know, you want to hear about it? So I had written this, again, I had written this program idea out in detail in a notebook, and I'd even started wanting to do some videos about it and talk about it, and I filmed them a few years ago, but then I ended up like trashing them because I wasn't mentally ready to go forward with it. Sure enough, this person was like, oh yeah, this is what I want to do. I want to do it like this, and this is how I want to help people, and yada yada yada. And I was like, that is exactly what I had written down like years ago. And because I felt like there was a need for it, and there wasn't enough like help for this particular subject, right? And you know what? This particular time when I heard this person's story, first of all, I contacted them and said, you know what? That was such an inspiration. I want to do something similar, and I am just so happy to see somebody else out here like doing the cause. For once in my life, I did not feel jealous. I didn't feel like angry that I'm watching somebody else like take this opportunity that I wanted. For the first time, it was the most freeing feeling ever. And I guess it's because I've hit a point now where I'm starting to like open up to what my actual purpose is. And I know that, like I said, if it's meant for me, it's meant for me. If it's not meant for me, then that means I'm meant for something else and that everything's going to work out. And this is the first time I've ever been able to feel that way, because I am the kind of person that I would have felt extreme like anger or jealousy, or just like why couldn't I have done that? Like, why is someone else doing it? Why do they get to do it and I don't? No, when I heard this person talk, I was like, yes, I was like, way to go. We need this. And thank you for taking up this cause. Like, and ever since, I'm kind of just like watching from the sideline and like cheering for them to keep going. I'm like, yeah, you do the thing, and I'm so happy. I'm actually so happy to see somebody else take on this cause that I wanted to do but never did. I just want to wrap it up by saying, when you have like something so powerful flow into you, take advantage of it. Like, don't just write it down and shove it away like I did. Write it down, sure, but like look at it every day. Make sure it's something that you are seeing. Obviously, make sure it's private. Like, make sure you don't share it with anyone else. But if it's something that you feel like very strongly about, get out there and start doing it. Figure out a way to like move through those obstacles, because I guarantee you, we all have really great ideas. We all have potential. We all have obstacles, and we all have excuses as to why we could not or should not do something. And I mean, at the end of the day, you just gotta like decide, are those excuses or are these obstacles bigger than this idea? Are they bigger than me? Are they bigger than this idea? Because we will always have something that's standing in the way of something we want to do. If doing stuff like this was easy, every single human being in this entire world would do it, and they would do it without stress or without anxiety or without complications. But that is just not how it works. There will always be, with everything that's good that flows, there will always be something that's like, hey, nope, you're gonna have to work past this to get stronger, to learn, to humble yourself, and just to prove to the universe that you're worthy of this cause. So maybe I wasn't worthy of those causes, or maybe they just weren't meant for me. But I know that what is meant for me will flow to me, and I can assure you this time around, I'm definitely going to harness it, because where I stand in my life right now, I can assure you, once again, I have plenty of obstacles. Emotionally, mentally, physically, spiritually. I have plenty of obstacles that could tell me, you can't do this, you're gonna have to put it off, whatever. But just seeing those few things that I had wanted to do now come to life through another person, no, I'm sorry, I'm not gonna stand for that anymore unless I truly believe that maybe the other person is completely qualified for it, in which case there are so many things in the world that we could be doing to help. I don't necessarily think you need to get fixated on one thing unless it's meant for you. And the person who's doing the idea that I had most recently, I mean, from what I can see of the little bit I've seen of them online, I think they're completely qualified for the job. And maybe I wasn't. So I'm happy to see that person take up that cause. And I'm happy to be going in the direction I'm going in now. I really do hope that this inspires you to take your power back and, move through any type of obstacle that tries to stand in your way. And number one, start with yourself, because our own ego and our own, mindsets are going to try to stop us. Number one, we are the first obstacle that we have to overcome above any other outside situations. Again, if you have something good, hold on to it. And I hope this resonated with you. And if it did, please comment anything that you might have gotten from this, and like and subscribe and share, as that will definitely help, boost what I'm trying to do right now. So anyway, I hope you all have a great rest of the week, and I will see you next time. Bye.